So much grief I get from Jeff. All right. You good? All right.
You're looking fine.
Thank you. This is Dan Meyer with RCR Wireless News at the CCA Global Expo here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm here with CCA CEO, Steve Barry. Steve, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks, Dan. It's always good to talk to you, and thank you for coming. And thank you for being our sponsor for our live webcast. We really appreciate that.
It's always a great show, I got to say. It's always a great show to come to this one, so I appreciate it. Well, let's talk a little bit about the topics of discussion here. So obviously, the show this year, it seems like pretty well attended. Again, maybe it's an overview from you on how the show's gone so far.
Well, yeah, it's been really exciting. We've had, I think, a really good day. You know, we've mixed things up a little, and we're going to have an interesting day tomorrow with some, and even Friday. We're going to have a new experts panel that we'll have an opportunity to talk to the expert, our carriers and members. So yeah, it's been good, and we've had, we're sold out, which is always a good thing to have, and oversubscribed is always a plus. And you can see the traffic in here. I mean, it's really good. I got a chance to go around, and we've got a lot of new members that are interested in meeting the carriers, and of course I want to make sure the carriers go around and get to meet, and it's working quite well, I think.
Yeah, looks good. Well, and let's maybe touch on a few of the big topics for you guys. And obviously, a lot of stuff going on in DC since last we talked back in September of last year. There's been some auctions. There's been some net neutrality stuff going on. What's, I guess, CCA's view right now of how things are shaping up in terms of the regulatory environment for you guys?
Oh, yeah. Well, you mentioned net neutrality. I mean, it really did suck the oxygen out of all the air in D.C. on the telecom side. Yeah. And, we took maybe a little different position on net neutrality, and that is, we need to manage our networks. We need the flexibility to manage our networks. Most of our guys and gals are not going to be those that sue the FCC. We want to manage our networks and be able to provide a competitive product. And I think all of our carriers, from the largest to the smallest, have said, we care about managing our networks. We care about being able to have that flexibility. And many of our carriers get access to Universal Service Fund, and we care about any reclassification or any redefinition doesn't forget that USF is a critical component to providing high-speed mobile services in rural America, and that's a high priority for every one of our carriers, even our largest carriers. Sprint has this R2P2 program. They're partnering. They've signed agreements with over 27 of our small members. Having these small members be able to expand their footprint and have that access available to the Sprint network is important to them too. So we have unanimity of all the carriers that this is a good thing. It's a good thing for America. It's a good thing for choice in rural America.
Yeah, it was a good update today. The lunch session about that too, kind of updating on the roaming hub and the device hub too. So a lot of good progress it seems like it's been made on that. I mean, again, it's been a year. It seems like it's been longer, but since Masayoshi-san spoke last year. And a lot's been going on. You guys have been staying on top of that and staying really busy with that.
Yeah, and I couldn't say any better things about how Sprint has continued their commitment. And I've met with Marcelo Claret, and I've been very impressed not only with his demeanor and his drive, but also his continuing commitment to understanding that the wireless carriers, the small CCA members, can play an important role for him. Couldn't be more pleased that he has continued that commitment at the highest levels of Sprint, and we're seeing some real progress now. I think we're going to bring this home and finally provide our small carriers a pathway to 4G and advanced services.
And obviously there's some auctions. One already took place, very successful for the government at least. Another one coming up at some point here, hopefully 2016. I know you guys have been pretty aggressive on making sure that stays on track.
Right.
What's the view on how that's progressing? And maybe a look back on AWS-3. I mean, that was obviously a big money auction. I mean, obviously the money came from a couple players, but we'll see what happens with that. But going forward.
I mean, $41 billion net proceeds. I mean, what it really demonstrated is there's a huge demand and a huge need for spectrum in the wireless world, and that was mid-band spectrum, AWS-3. So I think that what we learned is we need to make sure that every carrier can have the opportunity to bid and win spectrum in this next auction, the incentive auction, the 600 megahertz auction, and that's what we're trying to do. One of our top priorities on the policy agenda for this year is make sure that the FCC gets the correct rules. We've already gotten some really good progress on partial economic areas, smaller licensed areas for excuse me, for smaller carriers. And then hopefully we follow that through with the reserve. We've always suggested the reserve should be larger. I don't know if we can get it larger or not, but I'd love to see it that way, because then you have 100 wireless carriers bidding on 40 megahertz rather than 2 carriers bidding on. So, that's a huge issue, because if you're going to be relevant in the 4G world, you got to get to that spectrum that's going to provide you the handsets and devices and that connectivity. So for many carriers, it's a must-have, and I think they're going to show up to the auction, and I think it's going to be a rich auction, yes.
We're just going to watch how it still plays out over the next year, because, again, there's still a lot of moving pieces there with the broadcasters, but it seems like Tom Wheeler, once he gets this net neutrality thing under control a little bit, will be able to focus heavily on that and get that moving, hopefully on time. So that'll be key.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've said time and time again that the number one thing is to get the spectrum out there, keep the auction on time, and let's make sure that the carriers who are desperately in need, and I say AWS showed it, desperately in need of spectrum, can actually get it. And we don't need further delay. And we had a very interesting session this morning when we had one of the broadcasters, Preston Patton, who has a coalition, and we're talking. We're trying. I mean, they want money, we want spectrum. There's a lot of synergies there, and I don't think anyone is begrudging them the opportunity to make money. As long as we have the opportunity to get the spectrum, that's really the lifeblood of growing the wireless industry.
Okay, sounds good. Well, maybe looking ahead a little bit, obviously your next show is going to be in Fort Lauderdale. I know it's going to be a big change for you guys because it's going to be at a bigger venue. That's correct?
Yeah, we're going to be at the Convention Center in Fort Lauderdale. Great venue, some good weather, and we do a golf event before the show, so everybody can sort of.
Heard about it. I know demo.
I think I'm officially inviting you to come out and join us in the golf tournament. Okay, you're a guest of CCA. Okay. I didn't. No. You could be a guest, but we'll start that and the day before, and then we're going to have a really top-notch schedule of speakers and breakout sessions, and by that time we're going to be pretty close to the incentive auction. So we hope that we can get a lot of the policymakers there for that show, because that's going to be critical. And also FirstNet. FirstNet is something that I think it'll be moving along, and they're going to be here to tell us a little about what's going on. But hopefully by this fall, we'll have an opportunity to say, where can wireless carriers plug into the FirstNet? And talking about value of spectrum, 20 megahertz of paired spectrum and 700 megahertz, it's a great opportunity for small carriers.
And then obviously it leads into next year's changing of this show to a new focus too. I know we talked a little bit about that one, but a new focus next year.
Yeah, thank you for asking. We're going to launch the new mobile carrier show in spring of 2016 in Nashville. And we're going to be at the Nashville Convention Center, which I think is Music City Hall. And so I don't know, we may even have a music, some music in the background anyway. But I'm really looking forward to that, because the mobile carrier show is designed to literally tell everyone in one word, this is mobile carriers, we're carrier-centric, but everyone is connected through a mobile device. And so this is an opportunity to tell those industries that have mobile products, that have a mobile, strategy, that come to our show. You'll talk to the people that actually own the network, that are delivering those conveniences to the palm of your hand, and they want to do business. So I think we're going to see vendors, innovative, new presence, and then carriers. I mean, be where the carriers are, come to our show.
Yeah, and it plays off well, because it seems like the fall show now is a little bit more policy-driven. The spring show will be a little bit more carrier-driven. But again, obviously some cross-pollination there too, but it seems like a nice mix for you guys of kind of covering the whole base, all your bases really.
Right, and we hope to have some more technical lines of educational opportunities, which will cut across more of the slices of a wireless carrier. Not only the CTOs and the marketing people and the business development people. We're going to have hopefully an opportunity for all of them, and also some new innovative businesses to come and talk to wireless carriers. Yeah,
should be good. Well, good. Well, hey, Steve, again, always appreciate the time talking with us on what's happening. Appreciate it so much, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Very good. And you're on for golf.
I'm carrying your bags.
Right,
no doubt.
All right,
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks.